College football season is almost here, and if you're anything like me, you are chomping at the bit to get in on the action. And by action, I mean sports handicapping. Go from someone who tails other people's picks to being able to come up with your own. What's up everybody, Troy here, and I'm going to give you the 5 tips that will make you a better sports handicapper. Even the seasoned veterans hone their craft and adjust their strategies year in and year out. But I'm going to give you the building blocks so you can come with your own personal style, which is what it's all about. If you enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And as a disclaimer, sports betting should only be done responsibly or not at all. Only bet what you can afford to lose. Focus on using these tips to increase your college football knowledge overall. Alright, let's get this thing rolling. So most of you that are here already know what sports handicapping is. But if you're like me a couple years ago, you are wondering how all these people were so sharp on the lines and could predict how things would move. Instead of chalking it up to the, quote, Vegas is rigging the games, end quote, I took a deep dive into the handicapping space and came out on the other side with some very helpful tips. Tip number 1, listen to the experts. Obviously, anybody can copy what somebody else does and call themselves a good sports handicapper. But there's so much free public information that you can read, listen to, and digest that allows you to be the most informed, which is what it's all about. I strongly recommend you listen to the podcasts that are out there in your free time and absorb what the quote experts are saying. Now you'll start to notice that nobody is perfect, so you can't just blindly tail these people. But these people have been doing this stuff for a long time. They have taken their lumps and experienced the ups and downs. Tip number 2, be early. Being the first person to a line can make all the difference in winning or losing a wager. This business is all about key numbers, as I'm sure many of you have won or lost something by half a point. That number might have been different earlier in the week versus later in the week, and if you got it earlier, it could have made all the difference. For college football specifically, lines usually get released late Sunday or early Monday. I highly recommend looking at the books as soon as you can and just skimming it for something that jumps out at you. Now what are you looking for? Well, on to tip 3. Tip number 3. Cardinal rules and key numbers. Is the team on the road or at home? General rule of thumb is home field is worth 3 points, and it should be baked into the line to start. However, some teams are really good on the road or really good at home, and vice versa. Sometimes the line doesn't reflect that. If you see a USC traveling across the country to Penn State, you might increase that home field advantage to 5 points instead of 3. That's another thing, travel and schedule. If a team is coming off a bye week, they may be more fresh. If a team has to travel coast to coast, they could be tired. You have to remember, in the end, these are just kids, and they can get affected by something you might think meaningless. What about key numbers? This may be the most important aspect as far as actually making your picks. In college football, there are numbers that are more likely to pop up than others, just due to how the scoring system works. For example, 3, 7, 10, and 14 are very key numbers. You can also have numbers like 4 and 6, depending on if you expect field goals to be more prevalent. For totals, the key numbers include, but are not limited to, 45, 48, 51, and 55. These take into account common scores like 24 to 21, 27 to 21, 27 to 24, or 28 to 27. You get the picture. The key takeaway is to make sure you think about the number before you choose to pick. If the line is 53 or 47, for example, it's in no man's land. It's better to just wait for it to get to a key number for the pick that you want. Tip number 4, stay informed and adapt. Obviously, we don't have time to scan every box score or watch every game, but a simple skim of the scores and box scores on a weekly basis, catching as many games as you can, and again, listening to people who did watch all the games is crucial. This is how you catch injuries, hot streaks, cold streaks, and general trends. Adaptation is also crucial because opinions change throughout the season. Let's say you were on a high on one team, but now they're not out of playoff contention. The motivation level might not be as high. Maybe a coach is on the hot seat and he's feeling the pressure. Maybe you thought one player was going to be a Heisman candidate, but has regressed. All of these things factor in week to week and can change the way a team plays. Also, keep in mind regarding your previous picks. If you lost a pick and handicapped a game wrong, take note. You don't necessarily need to overhaul your process, but refusing to adapt can be detrimental, which is a good segue to tip number 5. Tip 5. Discipline and patience. I cannot emphasize how important this last tip is. If you are stubborn and refuse to admit you were wrong, it's going to be a long year. If you keep picking North Carolina to cover because you swear that Bill Belichick is going to kill it in college, despite them failing to cover every week, that's on you. And finally, patience. It's tough. I'm not going to lie. You go on a losing streak and you want to win it back instantly. I'm going to tell you now, don't do it. It's not worth it. Trust your process, make a pick, and stand by it. For every horrible week you have, you'll likely have a great week that follows. But if you get greedy and start chasing, your losses grow exponentially. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the tips, and I'd love to hear what yours are in the comments below. Also love to hear how you handicap college football and how that's changed over the years. Remember, bet responsibly or don't bet at all. This is Troy Talk Podcast, and have a great day, and see you next time.